Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to be making some s'mores cookies. I know a lot of people don't really like to eat s'mores in general. They're very messy. It's hard to make them. They're great by the campfire, but I don't know about you guys, but I love s'mores taste, but I don't always have the time to actually put s'mores together. So I found this great recipe online on Tastefully Simple. And it uses our almond pound cake, which I always have on stock. It's delicious. So today we need our almond pound cake mix. We need a large egg. We need a 1/4 cup of butter softened. Then we're going to use some graham cracker crumbs. You need a cup of those. I like to use these. They're the crumbs for the pie shell from Jell-O no-bake cheesecake. My husband just eats the middle part. He doesn't actually make a pie out of it. So I like to reuse these whenever I can. And you'll need a 1.5 tablespoons of water. And you'll need a container of marshmallow cream. Mine, as you can see, is already a mess. It's separated in the jar, so I had to take it out of that. And then we're also going to need a 1/2 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips or whatever kind of chocolate that you really enjoy. That's going to be going drizzled on the top. So we have to preheat the oven to 325 degrees, which I already have started. That's already going. So then we have a large bowl that we're going to mix our cookie mix in. So we're going to put in our almond pound cake mix. Oh. Making a mess already in the kitchen. That's why I always have my apron on. So we have our mix. We're going to next add our egg. Fresh from the chickens this morning. We're going to add in our butter. And then we're going to take a 1/2 cup of our graham cracker crumbs. We're going to add that right in. And we're going to put our water in there as well. That was the 1.5 tablespoons. And we're going to mix it all up. Let me grab a spoon. Alright, so it does take a little bit of time doing it by hand. You can definitely use a mixer for this. I just prefer to do most of my stuff by hand. I don't want to dirty the beaters, honestly. So that's completely up to you. So it's going to be a little crumbly. And you can even melt the butter instead of just leaving it softened. Just throw it in the microwave for 10 or 15 seconds. And throw that in. It'll actually help mix it up a little bit better. But you can do it either way. So again, it's going to be a little crumbly. No big deal, because we're actually going to form it into a ball. Oh, excuse me. So you're going to put your other 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, graham cracker crumbs. You're going to throw those into a bowl, which we have right here. We'll just add those dishes to the massive pile that's already back there. Because I hate doing dishes, so I usually don't. So what we're going to do is once we have our graham crackers in our bowl, we're going to roll the dough mix into about 1-inch size balls. It can be, if you want them a little bigger so they don't quite cook in the middle, they're a little soft. That's usually how I like my cookies, but you're just roll them whatever size feels right to you. And then you're going to take and you're going to roll them in the graham cracker crumbs over here. And you're going to put them onto a greased baking sheet. And you're going to just leave a little room in between because they are going to flatten out just a little bit. So as you can see, even though the dough is really crumbly, it does shape up very nicely. And again, we're just going to roll them. And I'm going to get these all done and we will be back in 1 second. All right, so we've got them all out on our sheet. My balls are a little bigger. These should make about 2 dozen if you do a 1-inch size. As you can see, mine are a little bit bigger. I just like cookies that are a little more doughier, not quite as dry. So that's what I did. So what we're going to do is take a glass and we're just going to flatten them slightly. It doesn't have to be, you know, mashing them down in. It's just going to be a slight push down so the tops are a little bit flat. If your glass starts sticking, you can always use your extra graham crackers that you have left. And just kind of dunk the glass in there. It'll make it not so sticky. But they should be fine. And once we flatten these guys, we are going to go ahead and put them in our oven. That was at 325 degrees. And we're going to bake them for about 15 minutes. Then we're going to pull them out, let them cool on the tray for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to put them on a baking rack. So I will come back when I get them all pulled out of the oven for you, and I'll show you the next steps. Welcome back. Okay, so we had our cookies in the oven. We baked them for the 15 minutes. Check to make sure that they're done. And I've had them cooling on a rack for about 5 minutes or so. So they're still a little warm, but they're not super hot. Because we are going to put the marshmallow fluff on top, we want to make sure that it's not just going to run off everywhere. So remember how I said my marshmallow had separated? So I just put it in the microwave for 10 seconds or so and kind of mixed everything up. But all we're going to do is drop a little on the top. Now, if you're making these for other people, you probably don't want to use your fingers, but I'm probably going to eat most of these, let's be honest. So I'm just going to use a spoon and my finger and just drop a little on top of each cookie. Because the marshmallow is, you know, it's going to run, it's going to move. It's going to kind of flow over your cookie. That's why we flattened the top of them. So it will kind of flatten out. It might run down the sides a little bit, which is totally okay. So you can put as much or as little as you want because I have bigger cookies. I'm going to be putting a little, a little more on here. I just used the 1 jar, but you can always use more too because I don't know about you, but marshmallow is my favorite part of the s'more. So what we're also going to do after this is we are going to be melting our chocolate to go over top. So I don't know if you guys can see in the video. I can show you up close here in just a moment. But what I did is I left the cookies on the cooling rack and just put the tray underneath. So if any of this does kind of run off the top of these cookies, it's going to fall onto that cookie sheet and it's not going to make a big mess on the counter. It'll be a lot easier to clean up that way. So that's always a good trick to use as well. Anytime you're doing anything messy, or especially if you're melting chocolate and kind of pouring it over, that way it all goes on the cookie sheet. It doesn't go anywhere else in the kitchen really. And it makes cleanup a lot easier because you can just throw it right in the sink. So we're just going to finish the last few up here. It is a big sticky mess. So these cookies definitely are not something that you're going to want to be doing if you want to stay super neat. But it might be a fun cookie to make with the kids. We all know they love to make messes. So this might be a good option for them as well. Get the last bits out here. And as you can see, some of it is running. Like I said, I did put it in the microwave just because it had separated, so I wanted to mix it up. But your regular marshmallow fluff, if you have a new package, you should be fine. You should be able to just spoon it out and spoon it right on top. And now I'm stuck to one of the cookies. Alright, so there's our last one. Let me just clean my hands quick. Alright, so what you're going to want to do with your chocolate chips is melt them slowly in the microwave. You don't want to burn the chocolate. It will add a really bitter flavor to it. So I have mine in my silicone bowls here. So what you should do is put them in the microwave for like 10 or 15 seconds at a time. Just really not a lot. Give them a quick stir, kind of mix everything up, and just keep doing, 15 or 20 second intervals, whatever you kind of feel comfortable with. I don't know if you guys can see them there. They're not super neat by any means. I'm not a professional baker, hence the Real Kitchen. You can also even take your extra graham cracker crumbs if you really like that flavor of your of your s'mores. You can kind of sprinkle that on top and then pour the chocolate over. That's not a problem at all. You can kind of feel free to get creative. I know a lot of people are intimidated when baking. I used to be kind of the same way. I'm definitely more of a cook rather than a baker. So yeah, my sister is definitely more of the baker. I like to do a lot more cooking, but I found, especially with Tastefully Simple, it makes it a lot easier. I like to measure a lot of ingredients with my heart, which doesn't always work with baking. It has to be a little bit more precise. So with our baking mixes and our recipes, it makes it so easy to do creative, fun things with baking. Even if you are a little intimidated by it, anybody can do it, I promise. So here we have our chocolate melted. I'm just stirring it to make sure that it's nice and smooth. And all we're going to do is just pour that right over our cookies here. And you're going to swirl it in. So you can just put a little dab on top. We're going to mix it with that marshmallow fluff and kind of give them a cute little swirl pattern there so everybody gets the flavors. Now be careful because it can be very hot coming out of the microwave, depending on how long you've had it in there. That's why I usually recommend doing just a little intervals at a time. And that way, again, it doesn't burn the chocolate, but it also doesn't make it so hot that it's just going to be liquid molten lava and, kind of melt everything that it's going on to. So we got the last few that we're finishing up here. And then we're going to grab a toothpick and just kind of swirl that chocolate and marshmallow together. Make them look really cool and cute. I probably added a little bit too much chocolate, unfortunately. Or fortunately, however you look at it. Chocolate flavor is always good too. I probably could have melted the chocolate a little bit more. It would have been a little more liquid, but that's okay. They're all going to eat the same, and I just put my hand into that cookie. Wonderful. This is what it's like cooking in a real kitchen. You know those demos that you see on TV, And on other videos, they have that pristine kitchen. It looks beautiful. All their things look just like it does on the photos. That's not me. And I'm sure that's not a lot of you either. Although there probably are some of you out there, for sure. This is why I wanted to do a lot of these videos. Just to show you that mistakes will happen. It's not the end of the world. Even if they don't look the prettiest, I promise you the taste will be excellent with these. They're so delicious. So good. And just a different kind of alternative to a regular s'more that you have to cook. So with these, you're going to want to store them in an airtight container. They can go in the fridge if you want. We keep them out on the counter because they don't usually last that long. And so we'll just swirl these around here. Some of this marshmallow is leaking off. Because it is on the tray, feel free to kind of pick it up off the tray and throw it on some of the cookies that may have lost some. You can do that as well. Like I said, you probably don't have to melt it if it's one that's coming fresh off the shelf. So there you have it, guys. We've got our Have S'more cookie recipe. If you want, I'm going to try to remember to put it in the comment section on the video. It does take me all day to upload the videos though, so if I do forget, feel free to send me a reminder, or you can go on to my website, which is also in my bio, and you can go to the recipe section and you can type in s'mores cookies and it will pull it up right there for you. You can add it to your recipe box, or you have the option to print them off as well. So I hope you had a great time. Feel free to comment. Let me know what else you might like to see on this channel. And we'll keep baking and cooking away, and I'll show you how easy everything is. Thanks, everybody.